Hey guys, Gene here from the BSP Wrestling Show, and yes, I know it's been a long time, more like 10 days. Not that long, but it's been long enough for me. I haven't made a video in about 10 days. Not for any specific reason, just been kind of busy lately, so haven't really had a chance to make a video. I didn't get a chance to review last week's SmackDown, but I'm just going to talk about this week's Raw and SmackDown, give you guys a recap of what went on. I'm not going to go into too much of the negative. I'm just going to try to stay positive with this little dual review that I'm doing. And yeah, just talk about some things that I like that both shows did. Both shows are pretty solid this week. And if I had to give the edge to either show, it would probably be Raw. Surprisingly, yes, Raw was actually a better show than SmackDown. Not to say SmackDown was a bad show, but Raw just did a lot more than what SmackDown did for me in terms of entertainment-wise. Of course, on Raw, we did get that Miz TV segment, which, I mean, I was laughing at it, but other than LeVar Ball being there, his sons being there, I'm just like, that kind of messed a little bit things up. They got a little bit of heat on them because LeVar's younger son, LaMelo, shouted some racial words out, and they came across the live microphone, and they were not bleeped out, so... yeah, WWE wasn't too happy with that, but LeVar Ball handled himself well against The Miz on the mic. It was actually pretty entertaining. I don't really like what they're doing with The Miz. I'll probably talk about that later. Like I said, I'm not going to try to get into too much of the negatives, but that was a good segment for them to get some more exposure because it was all over ESPN. It was all over Facebook and Twitter. Everything exploded when LeVar Ball came on to Monday Night Raw. So that was pretty entertaining. But, yeah, like I said, Raw did some good things. Raw had the Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman segment. That was pretty entertaining. Roman was talking about how Joe finally put him to sleep, and then Braun Strowman returned and attacked him like a coward and just pretty much picked the bones that Samoa Joe had left for him to pick. And he accepts his challenge for the ambulance match at Great Balls of Fire. Right on cue, there's an ambulance that backs into the arena. And Roman goes up to it because last week Strowman came out of one, so he's thinking he's in it again. But instead, Strowman winded up coming up from behind the ambulance to attack Reigns, and they fought for a little bit. Strowman tossed Reigns onto the stage, like from the bottom part of the stage to the top part. He tossed him on there. They fought for a little bit, and then he tossed him back off the stage, this time into the ambulance. And then he threw him inside of it, and the ambulance drove away. So, Braun Strowman's back and better than ever, causing more wreckage, causing more dominance. Love Braun Strowman. Can't be mad at what they're doing with him. Reigns getting better on the mic. Taking those bumps well, because Braun Strowman was just throwing him like he just did not weigh anything. He was just weightless. He was just tossing him around. So that was cool. Like that. And apparently, Reigns was supposed to be coming back to fight whatever, but that I don't think that ever happened. Paul Heyman had an interview because he was waiting for Brock to arrive at the arena because Brock was going to challenge Samoa Joe to a fight. They were just going to fight. He was going to call him out. They were just going to have a fight. So he just said he was waiting for Brock to come up, and then Samoa Joe pulled up on Paul Heyman and acted like he was going to put him back in the coquina clutch, and it was like, you know what, I'm not going to waste my energy on you. I'm going to just wait for Brock to show up. That's when I'm going to use my energy on. But he was just pretty much trying to scare the hell out of Paul Heyman, and it worked. Another good thing they did was with Enzo and Cass. Enzo came out, dropped this crazy promo. He wanted Cass to come out. He was like, I know what you're saying. I know I can talk too much sometimes, and, I just write a lot of checks that my ass can't cash because I always had you. We've been through it all. We're not just good friends. We're not just tag team partners. We're family. And I want my family by my side. He was just pretty much saying when we sit down to eat, we're brothers, and life has its ups and downs, but the journey ain't over. He saw passion, anger, and love last week when Big Cass did what he did, and he knows Big Cass saw it as well. And last time he saw this type of passion from him is when he was knocked out. I think, what was it, last year? They had that pay-per-view match with the Vaudevillains, and Enzo kind of hit the bottom rope and got knocked out. And then Big Cass was right there for him. He was like, I understand what you did. I understand completely. but that's in the past. We got to move towards the future. We got to become the Raw Tag Team Champions. We have not become Tag Team Champions since we've been a team. We didn't do it in NXT, and we haven't done it yet on Raw. So we got to do that. We got to put everything aside. I forgive you. Let's just go and fix what we need to fix, and just go win these titles. And Big Cass was like, yeah, I completely get it. You know, we're brothers. You know, he said he was ashamed of what he did. And yes, Enzo's annoying and loud and runs his mouth, but he accepts him for who he is. He's not going to change him, and they are brothers. So he said from one brother to another that he's sorry for everything he said and did over the past 5 weeks, and asked for forgiveness. He extends his arm to Enzo, and Enzo's like, I'm for real, we brothers. Like, if I shake your hand, this we gonna do this. So they shake hands, hug it out, and now seemingly they were back together. Even Big Cass was like, you know, family goes through things, they fight, but if you thought that they were not gonna get back together, then there's only one word to describe you. And then they did the whole soft thing, and then, you know, cool, they're good, celebrating. The crowd was back on Big Cass's side because they booed him when he came out. So they get to the top, and Big Cass picks up Enzo's arm, and they just, you know, yay, celebrating to the crowd. And then Big Cass stops, puts his arms down without letting go of Enzo's, and he pulls him towards him and clotheslines the hell out of Enzo. Like, knocked him the hell out. Then he picked him up and tossed him down the ramp. So it was just a big swerve by Cass. It was lovely. The crowd thought that they were back together. I kind of thought it for a minute, but something was a little off, I knew. And then Big Cass just completely turned on him again. And it was great. I loved how they did it because the crowd fed into it. They thought that, hey, everything's cool now. You know, they just went through something, but they're okay. No, Big Cass is on his own now. He does not want to be by Enzo's side anymore. So that was freaking crazy. It was a perfect swerve, and I loved it. But they wasn't over there. Apparently, Big Cass approached Corey Graves after they came back from commercial and whatever, and said he should break his tattooed pencil neck for what he did last week. But Kurt Angle told him he can't touch him, so he must have some good dirt on Kurt Angle. And then he told him to stay out of his business and walked away. Corey Graves almost suffered that Enzo treatment, so he better tread lightly, or Big Cass gonna come for him next. We finally did get Brock Lesnar, who arrived at the arena. Paul Heyman came out, cut a little promo. Says Samoa Joe cheap shot Brock Lesnar 2 times last week, which isn't impressive, and he just proves he's a Samoan dumbass. He knows he's not burdened with great intelligence, but it takes a smart man when to know to fear Brock Lesnar. Now is the time to fear Brock Lesnar. It's time for the bathroom break to be over, and it's time to press record, is what Paul Heyman said. And then Brock Lesnar comes out. Boom, music hits. Yeah, he's on the stage. He's getting hyped up. I'm about to fight. And then Samoa Joe pulls up on Brock Lesnar from behind and locks him in the coquina clutch. Brock tried to break it 2 times, and Samoa Joe just re-locked it back on and almost choked him out. Brock turned red, or he turned pink. His face was turning pink, so he was struggling. He was definitely struggling. He tried to get him off of him. It was unsuccessful. The Revival and I think Carl Anderson had to come and break it up. But yeah, Samoa Joe was that close to sleeping Brock Lesnar. And I loved it because they've been building up Samoa Joe for all this time. And now they're making him actually look like he can actually beat Brock Lesnar. I'm starting to believe it. I'm really, really starting to believe that he's going to take that title from Brock Lesnar. And they're going to have a series of matches. But man, that was a great thing that they did. Samoa Joe wasn't going to wait to get called out. He just pulled up on him real quick. Because they not putting no respect on my man's name. When you don't put respect on Samoa Joe's name, this is what happens. You get locked in that coquina clutch, and you either go to sleep or you that close to going to sleep. And he finally locked it in. Almost got Brock to go to sleep, and I loved it. I'm excited for a Brock Lesnar match for the first time in a very, very long time. Can't wait to see it. And then they focused on the women as well. They had this nice number 1 contenders gauntlet match to see who Alexa Bliss would face at Great Balls of Fire for the Raw Women's Championship. And Nia Jax looked like an absolute star in this match. She started off first with Bayley, got Bayley out of there, and then she took out Mickie James, Dana Brooke, Emma, And then it came down to her and Sasha Banks, and they went for a good 10-15 minutes in a very good contest. They work well together. This is probably the best match they've ever had. And Sasha had to overcome Nia's size to use the fact that she was exhausted from taking out all those other women in order to take advantage, and she was able to make Nia Jax tap out. I wanted Nia Jax to win, to be honest. I really do. I really think she actually deserves that one-on-one championship match. No interferences, no gimmicks. And when she finally does get that match, I think she's going to take the title. So I think that's why they're probably saving a very serious match for her. But man, you got to know that Nia Jax is nothing to be played around with. She is the real deal. She is one of the best women in this company. She is doing great work. She's improving. I've definitely seen the improvement in her. And that gauntlet match just proved it right there. She held her own and looked dominant in the process. And that was a good win for Sasha, though. Let me not discredit Sasha. This was a good win. Like I said, they had a good exchange when she got into the match. So she earned the right to face Alexa Bliss to Great Balls of Fire. That's going to be an incredible match. And I'm not sure who's going to win that one just yet. We'll have to see, with the build. I think they still got like one more week before Great Balls of Fire. So next week on Raw, we'll just have to see what they're going to do to build it a little bit more. But they already have some backstage heat with each other, so that's good. But yeah, Raw, like I said, Raw was a pretty solid show. Let's talk about SmackDown for a little bit now. This women's Money in the Bank situation, I haven't had a chance to really talk about that. So Carmella won in Money in the Bank, and then last week on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan stripped her of the briefcase because James Ellsworth climbed the ladder and grabbed the briefcase down to throw it to Carmella. Now, Carmella's whole thing is there's no rules in the Money in the Bank ladder match, because there isn't. There's no rule that says nobody can climb up to the ladder and give you the briefcase if they're not in the match. It says the first woman to gain possession of the briefcase is the winner. And Carmella came out to talk to Daniel Bryan about that, and she was like, I did nothing wrong. Just because I outsmarted them, you're punishing me for it. The rulebook says there's no rules, so I outsmarted them, and James Ellsworth climbed the ladder and gave her the briefcase. Daniel said she made some valid points, but never in history has someone climbed the ladder and handed the briefcase to another competitor. And, of course, he asked the crowd, should he cancel the match and give her the briefcase back? They said no, of course, and the match still happened. My thing was, this is just a big contradiction, because Carmella's right. There's no rules in the Money in the Bank match. That's not a rule that says nobody that's not included in the match can climb up the ladder and give you the briefcase. Nobody ever said this was a rule. There are no rules. That's like, it's a tag team championship match, and then like the manager from the outside climbs the ladder for them and hands them the titles. Like, say if New Day was in a tag team championship match, in a ladder match, and Xavier's not in the match, he's not competing, it's Big E and Kofi, and everybody's down, and Xavier climbs the ladder, grabs the titles, and throws them to Kofi and Big E. They win the match. There's no rules that say that can't happen. Anybody could hop up the ladder and grab whatever title or briefcase is up there and hand it to the person who's in the match, and they'll win. There's no rules against it. But they contradicted themselves. It was like, yeah, there's no rules, but I'm going to do what's right. If you were going to do what's right, then you would let Carmella keep the briefcase and her heat. But whatever, we still got the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women, but it definitely was a good ladder match. I'll give them that. It was better than the first one. So yeah. Also, James Ellsworth was banned from the arena, but we winded up seeing him anyway. Like I said, not a lot to talk about on SmackDown. Randy Orton is getting his rematch against Jinder Mahal, and they're bringing back the Punjabi prison match. There's only been 2 of those in history. Both of them have involved the Great Khali. I think he faced Batista in the first one, and then Undertaker in the second, or maybe it's the other way around. But yeah, there's only been 2 in history. And the match is kind of weird in a way. It's like a huge structure. It's like 3 levels to it. Oh man, this match is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Because, when Khali was wrestling, he's kind of like slow with his movement, so every match with him was kind of slow. But these two work at a faster pace than the Great Khali works, so maybe it'll be a little bit better. I gotta rewatch the Punjabi prison matches. I haven't seen them in years, so I gotta go back and watch them to see how I feel about the match and what the rules are, because I forgot. But it's an interesting stipulation, and this probably will end their rivalry together. But they're building towards Battleground, and we already have the main event set up for Battleground. So I don't know when is I don't know if Battleground's like 2 weeks after Great Balls of Fire or what. I don't know. Maybe 2-3 weeks. I don't know. I thought SummerSlam was the next pay-per-view, but apparently they get Battleground. So that's cool. Whatever. They get one more pay-per-view before SummerSlam, and so does Raw. And then we had the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match that Carmella winded up winning again. She won the match again. I called this. I knew she was just going to win the match again. And Ellsworth took... Okay, look. This was the match they should have did at Money in the Bank. I kind of like how they swerved us a little bit with the ending of the first one. But this is the finish they should have just did anyway. They had Ellsworth come back, but this time he took a bump. Becky Lynch knocked him off the ladder because he was trying to do the same thing he did at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and climb the ladder for Carmella. But Becky Lynch knocked him off. He took the top rope bump, and his little, as he calls them, little Ellsworths got tangled on the top rope, so now he can't have kids. And Carmella still took advantage of that, and she yanked down Becky from the ladder. And Becky, I guess, injured her leg a little bit. Carmella went and grabbed a steel chair and took advantage of that and got her out of the ring. And she was able to climb the ladder and retrieve the briefcase to become, I guess, now a 2-time Women's Money in the Bank ladder match winner or whatever. I guess it counts twice, even though they restarted the match. Who knows? But this match was great. A lot more usage of the ladders. The crowd was way more into it. They gave them time, which was very key. Every woman at one point had a chance to climb the ladder and get the briefcase when nobody was in the ring. They didn't do the same spots they did at Money in the Bank, which was good. It was just a pure brawl. They used the ladders to their advantage. Anybody could have came out of this match with the briefcase, and that's just how they told the story. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, well, she has no chance at all. Everybody had a chance to win. And then Ellsworth took the bump, like I pretty much expected him to. It was kind of weird that security didn't come back out to get him if he was banned from the arena. But that stipulation never really works for anybody. Even if somebody's banned, they still find a way to come back. So yeah, but Carmella came out victorious, and I'm glad they kept the briefcase on her. I'm glad they didn't switch the winner. That would have made no sense to me, switching the winner. But yeah, Carmella is Miss Money in the Bank, and she will eventually cash in to win the title from Naomi. I feel like Lana is going to play a part in Carmella winning the title. I don't know, for some reason I just have that. Her and Naomi had a singles match that went all of 3 minutes, which was stupid. And apparently Lana's finisher is just like irrelevant. I'm not going to talk about too much of the negative, like I said, but I don't know, like, you guys are you guys not trying to protect her or something? She hit her finisher on Naomi after she snuck attack her during their introductions or whatever. Hit her with her finishing move, and Naomi kicked out of it. That's twice that she's kicked out of her finisher now. Now she needs a new finisher, because that's not a finishing move. It doesn't finish the match. Not that she should have won the title, but if she's hitting her finishing move, it should end the match. This is why I'm kind of, I don't know, I was kind of happy she got her first match against the champion, but for the title, I feel like she probably shouldn't have faced her for the title at first. She probably should have beat her, and then you get the title match, because that would have protected her finisher. She would have been able to end the match and pin the champion and shock her, and then you get your title match. But they kind of rushed through that, and now it's kind of stupid. Well, like I said, whatever. But this time when Naomi pinned her, apparently she tweeted out today that her shoulders weren't down on the mat. So now she's demanding another rematch. And I hope this time they're just like, all right, look, you want a rematch? Fine. But this time it's not for the title. And that's when you can have Lana win. She's 0-2 so far since making her in-ring debut. She hasn't won a match yet. You should have started her off, easy against, like, who's in that women's division? Natalya. Have her beat Natalya. Who cares? Natalya isn't winning anything anytime soon. Have her do that or something like that. But whatever. I don't know. Make Lana look good. Please don't ruin her, because she has potential. She held her own in her first match. Second match, you couldn't really see anything because all she did was hit her finisher and it didn't work. But you got to protect that finisher too, man. If she's gonna hit that, she needs to pin somebody. But we'll see what happens next week. I guess she's gonna get a rematch. But like I said, don't make it for the title. That way she can actually beat Naomi to make her look like a legitimate threat, because that was the goal here. Well, why bring her to the women's division to make her look stupid? All those vignettes for what? I don't know, but whatever. Like I said, Raw is better than SmackDown this week. Sorry I wasn't able to do the reviews right after each show. But next week we should be able to go back to how things are normally. I'll watch Raw, do a review, then watch SmackDown the next day, do a review on that. I'm going to bring back the topic videos. I got a few topics I want to discuss. And, yeah, we're going to get the channel back rolling again. Sorry about the lack of videos lately, but I'm going to get back on the ball, get back on making these videos for you guys. Thank you guys for your patience. Hope you guys liked the video today. Slap a like on it if you did. Subscribe if you guys are new. We're like 2 subscribers away from 300 subs, I believe. So we're very, very close to achieving that goal. And then it's on to the next one. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.